We are WooJin Daniel, and our pre-20th century form of comedy theater is Talchum.
So the theoretical context of the Talchum is made originally to humiliate the higher state people because they always think for themselves and they never really care about the lower class, and they always ignore them and think of them as a lower creature to them. So Talchum was basically to make a satire of all the things the higher state people did, and to show it back to them and make fun of it.
So the tradition that Talchum plays in South Korea, or mainly how it evolved and started. So it started around the 13th century, so the 1200s. As WooJin mentioned, it's performed by the lower class to humiliate the higher class, and not really thinking about others and being more self-centered. It started during the Joseon period, in the 13th century. It can be performed on any day. There's no specific day or month of the year where it has to be performed, though it needs to have a more, I would say, civilized way of performing. So we would need a stage, whether it's rectangular, circular, and there will be left, center, and right stage. And there has to be an audience that can be able to see. So rows or like in a circle or whatever, other forms of viewing. And it just started by one person. It's unknown as to who started it, but the point of Talchum is the same in every performance.
So our specific type of Talchum is called the Bongsan Talchum, and it is different from the old Talchum because the old Talchum had another meaning to it, like to
Scare off spirits and
to scare off spirits
ghosts.
and pray to the gods. And however, this Talchum is just mainly for the entertainment of the lower class and to humiliate the higher class without showing your identity, so you're safe from their revenge or any types of assault. So the main aspects of Bongsan Talchum is that they have this long white sleeve. We have it over there, and it's to emphasize the movement and to reinforce the meaning of their words. And hanbok is the traditional clothes of Korea, which is always wore on special days. And the masks are to hide their faces. And the music is played in the background. It's like a drumming sound, but it builds up the tension, so to emphasize what the speaker has to say.
So the music also goes with your body and the movements that you do. In some cases, when the person is speaking, the music, your body, and the voice really connect into one, which is what we worked on during our workshop. And I think that's our next, after the next slide.
So these are the main masks used during the Talchum, and so this mask is the one you have over there. And this is the lowest class, the slave that humiliates the higher class. So these three are the three disabled yangban, which are the name of the higher state people. So these three have all disabilities, and this slave comes to the center and then humiliates all three of them. The three of them are too dumb to understand what he means, so they don't know if they're being humiliated or not.
So this is a video of the basic movements that we'll be doing in our moment of theater later on. And it's taught by a professional, and so the professional is somewhere here, but these are the students who have been learning for quite a while based on how they move, and just looking at them, they seem very comfortable in what they do. the drums, and the instructor, the facilitator, working with the drum and her voice to lead and kind of guide the students as to what they're supposed to do. And I don't know if you guys were able to tell, but the students seem very focused, and they know what they're doing, they know the next step. And so that really applies, it becomes another level of Taochung.
So this is the workshop we did, and so we filmed our workshop because Mr. Kant wasn't there. So like we had the feedback of being able to pass on the presentation, the workshop to each other and to take it on. And we had, so basically we learned a lot from the workshop and how it's supposed to facilitate. So me and Daniel, for me, I haven't done much of a workshop before, and it was really helpful. And for him,
I'm pretty good with public speaking and like putting myself out there, which is why I believe we did a great job. We, as you can see there in the points, I don't think, I'll go over them. We didn't explain the first two, but I feel like when we were working our way through the workshop, I feel like so when we began, not many of you, including Joe, Ziyu, and Ian, were very comfortable, and so I kind of try to push you guys to really step out there, and it's just a small class, right? And so the more mistakes we make, the better we'll be, and so it's better to be, it's not strong, but to be confident in yourself, to try new things. We had a recap of the presentation, which I believe helped. We were also very communicative, which helped in like questions and answers and just overall summarizing Taochung. And as I mentioned, pushing you guys to try your best.
so this is the workshop. This is based on the workshop we had with the grade 11s, the DP students.
And yours.
Yeah, all we had together. So the Comedia dell'arte, we could identify how the masks and the lower body movement, like stoop down movements, connect to each other. The Shangsheng from Ian and Ziyu's had the voice, and it was all based on their voice and their actings. So it also connects to ours because we have the storyline and the plot, and it is explained based on their talk. And
so Taochung to theirs, Eungi and Hughes, it's mostly the same, but we believe it's more straightforward, it's more formal, and it has a different meaning to it, which is to scare off devils, spirits, ghosts, or whatever. And ours is mostly to humiliate and make fun of higher classes.
and the burlesque, like Julie and Taysha's, they had these body movements that's meaningful and means something. And also our Taochung has the body movements as well.
Punch and Judy, which was Maya's moment of theater and chosen art, chosen form of drama, is gesture and voice. So gesture connects to Taochung because we're moving our arms, and it's very, it has to be it has to flow very well. And Punch and Judy, they're puppets, right? So you also kind of have to be able to move smoothly through transitions and making like the fingers and the puppets move. And then the voice is very similar as well.
Pantomime is it uses body and movement to make something real, which is not there, and it acts as if there's this thing here that's not in reality. And ours is different from the pantomime, so we make the movement to emphasize what we say, but the pantomime makes the movement to create something new. So you could see that from
I forgot her name.
Gabriella.
Gabriella, yeah. So the impact on us is we learned about different cultures and how they connect to each other, such as burlesque. They're, through the workshop and your presentation, there are clear similarities, whether it's Western or Asian or European, whatever type of form of drama or comedy it is. There will always be some similarities where, I don't know, Asian drama took an aspect of Western or the opposite, vice versa. And so that's really kind of what we learned, one of the key points we learned.
So throughout doing the workshop and the presentation, we had to collaborate with each other a lot, like more than I thought I would with Daniel. And it was quite interesting because he's very different from me and he's very open and I'm not that much. So I think I got some of his open energy.
We also learned a lot about pre-20th century comedy, which I believe was very... so when we started this, I went home and I found it very hard to find a type of pre-20th century comedy that would fit. And I was able to find kind of, I guess you could say, subcultures. But after having your guys' presentation and the grade 11's workshop, it was very fascinating to see all the different types of dramas, whether it's before or after the 20th century. So that was very helpful, and it also helped our research skills, which I believe I couldn't have done. And I did manage to do some of it, and hopefully I become better with it.
So this is the song and the rhythm and the speaking we're gonna be working with. So I have this MP3.
Oh,
Wait, not yet. What do? Yeah.
I was testing.
죽장 짚고 많이 신어 천리강산 들어가니 폭포도 참이 좋다마는 여사기 여기로다. 비료직화 삼천척을 옛말로 들었더니 의시 은하낙구천은 과연 험이 아니로구나. 소리 쫓아내려가니 풍요정이 분명 길어. 어디 한번 놀고 가려다. 아버님만 참 모르게.
So that was our moment of theater, and now this is the citations of all the
Images and information we use. Thank you.